Sing along with me. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 ya da da ya da da da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 ya da da da. Ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 da. Shabbat shalom, everybody. So just feel the temperature in the room. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel yourself sitting in the chair. Let the worries of the week and the worries of later on today and the rest of the weekend just fade away. One of the hardest things to do is to just like be in the moment and not be in fear or excitement about what's happening next. Just notice the breath, because that's the one thing that's consistent in the moment. We can't think about the breath in the future or the breath in the past. We can think about the breath right now and let whatever is bothering us go so we can be here together. Ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da ya da 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 da. All right, we turn. Does everyone have a sitter? Does need sitter? Oh, you got one. Great. Okay, good. So we turn to page 2. Let me see here. 2. The sitter, and we light candles. Usually when we do a mitzvah, because candle lighting and wine are mitzvahs, meaning connections to God, people usually translate that as commandment, but it's really connections, like we're connecting to God. It's ways we connect to God. Usually you say the blessing, the bracha, and then you do the mitzvah. But candles are different. This is interesting. It's the only time, as far as I know, that we do the action and then say the blessing. Usually say like the blessing for wine or food, different types of food, and then eat it, and you have to eat it right away because you have to complete the mitzvah. So this is always interesting to me. So we're lighting the candles. And then we bring the light towards us 3 times. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Then we turn to page 5 for the blessing of the wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu Shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinkilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra el kodesh zecher letziad mitzrayim Kivanu v'chata Yotanu kidashta Mikol hamim B'shabbat kodshecha B'yava u'bratzon Inchaltanu Baruch ata Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Okay, we turn now to page 24 in the Siddur for Shalom Aleichem. I was talking about this last week that traditionally in Judaism, there are 4 angels that come to us on Friday night. And if we have everything in order, if we're focused enough, generally, like traditionally speaking, if your Shabbat table is made, the bed is made, things like that, you prepare for Shabbat, basically. The angels give you blessing, and if we don't have it prepared, then we get more chaos. It's basically karma, and it's true. Like if we keep on, I went through a phase where I did not make my bed ever, and when I started making it just a little action every day, because I was always like, I'm gonna mess it up tonight when I get back in it. That was my rationalization. But when I did this, it was just like one action that just like set my day, and I noticed a difference in my life. So I think it's a kind of truth. That's why we sing Shalom Aleichem, to welcome the angels. 24. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Brachuni leShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem leShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, we turn to page 20 for Lechado D. Actually, let's read page 19, and before we do that one, page 19. Tom, you want to lead us? The voice of Adonai convulses the wilderness. The wilderness of Kadesh. The voice of Adonai causes hinds to cleave, to force bear. I'll say glory. Adonai is enthroned. Amen. We turn to page 20 for Lechado D. Traditionally, this song has 9 verses. The Kabbalists in Sfat used to wait on a mountaintop, waiting for the sun to start setting, and they all used to start singing this together. It's not that old of a song. It's about like 400 or 500 years old. But the intention of Shabbat coming in, there's nothing new about that. It's just the melody and the liturgy of it and the tradition. But Jews are always welcoming in Shabbat. And the Reform movement, we do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shahamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem ol tiferet v'lechila. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lekrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, ki him makor habracha, mehirosh mekedem netucha, sof ma'aseh v'machshavat hila. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Bohiduri toreri, kiva orek umihori, uri shi daberi, kevod Adonai alai lechnikla. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise if you're able. We face the door, welcoming in the Shabbat energy. Bohi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha uv'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Bohi chala, lecha dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi lekrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. All right, we now turn to page 32. Actually, let me see, 28. We have to skip our who because we don't have a minion. So, but let's do page 30. Mari Varvim, page 30. And you may be seated. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 da. Da 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 da. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidharo mariv aravim b'chochma poteach she'arim ובתבונה משנה עיתים ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את כוכבים משמרותיהם ויקיע כרצונו la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da. Borei yom v'layla, go'el mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom u'mevir layla, maril ben yom u'ben layla, Adonai Tzevaot Shemo, El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Aravim. Yadai dai 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 dai, yadai dai dai dai, Ma'ariv Aravim. We now turn to Ahavat Olam on page 32. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shachvenu u'v'kumenu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה. We now will say the Shema, which is the most important prayer in Judaism. But before, let's read page 33, top of 33 together. Top of page 33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean to struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. We traditionally cover our eyes to go inward. I also realized sometimes we can all be judgmental of people, like, what is that person doing over there? Who are they? I've never seen them in synagogue, right? And so this prevents us from doing that and allows us to just focus on this one prayer. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Machto Elam Ve'ed. V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha. Page 36. B'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. Ve'ayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham v'shivtecha b'vetecha v'laftecha v'aderech Ushach b'cha uvkumecha, ukshartam le'od al yadecha, ve'ayu l'totafot ben einecha. Uchtavtam al mizuzot beitecha uvisharecha, leman tizkeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedoshim le'lechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hoteti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liyot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Emet. You shall, let's read in English, right below that. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 39, the bottom of the page. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we are delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Turn to page 40 for Mi Chamocha, the song that is written directly in Torah, and that all the Jews sang when they crossed over when they crossed through the Red Sea reeds. I also want to say this. It says that the women had tambourines and drums, and I love that because, you know, one of the first things they say when you're escaping a house that's burning down is just like, get out, right? They were escaping Egypt. They didn't have time for the bread to rise, but they took their musical instruments with them, and they used them, you know, and they saw them as holy instruments. So I just love that. Mihi chamocha bailim Adonai, mihi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, norati hilot osefele, norati hilot osefele, mahalechutecha rahu v'neka, bokei ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zeli zeli anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Yadai 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 yadai. ונאמר כי אדוני את יעקב ויעלו יהיה חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. We turn to page 43 for Hashkivenu. This song by Noah Aronson is not a direct translation, but it's along the similar lines. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu leshalom, V'hamidenu shomrenu lechayim, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu leshalom, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. We now turn to page 46 for the Amidah, also known as a standing prayer sometimes. There's 46, so we rise. This is a prayer that's said 3 times a day at all morning, afternoon, and evening service if you're a traditional Jew. And there's 2 times where we bow in it. Sometimes people accidentally do 3, but just watch me for the bows in this. Adonai, Svatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha, Adonai, Svatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha, Adonai, Svatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh HaKol, V'Zocher Chazdei Avot, U'Mevii Gula B'nei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Maged, Baruch Atah Adonai, Maged Abraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'Olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia, morid hatal. Michalkel chayim bechesed, Michaye hakol berachamim rabim, Zomech noflim verofei holim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal givurot, Umido melach, Melech memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'leman ata lechayot metim, Baruch ata Adonai, Mechayeh hametim. Ata kadosh v'shemcha kadosh, Ukdoshim b'chol yom yalu chasela, Baruch ata Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Please take this time now to pray to God in whatever way you want. That's just meditation or talking to God or saying one of the prayers in the book. From here, page up to page 57. And take your time, and when we're ready, we will sing a prayer for peace together. We're on page 60, Shalom Rav, prayer for peace. The words translated read, O grant abundant peace to your people Israel forever, for you are the sovereign of peace. May it please you to bless us and bless all your people Israel with your peace at all times and at all hours. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. Okay, we will do a Misha Berach for those who are healing, who need healing. Page 253 in the book. So if there's any, I have a list of people who I have to get this out. To be my announcements, be my. There we go. So I'm going to read people that are need healing. Millie Rottenberg, Howard Simon, Larry Berkowitz, Bernice Portnoy, Beryl Ben Sima, Shmuel Laib, Steve Gellis, Michael Rosenblum, Harav Miriam, Yael Chaya Bat Sarah B'Yetzchak, Maxwell Zwain, Menachem Mendel Ben Yehudit, Umichael, Dr. Isokin Uzemwata, Alan Menta, Marlon Williams, Aaron Rivkin, Rhoda Allerbabe, Luke Wright, Kendall Chaya, Rafaela Bat Yehudit, Sharon, Nandy Sambo, and Dolores McKell. And I will play the first half of this, and then I will open it up if there's anyone else people would like to add. And we can always put ourselves on the list if we want to. There's nothing egotistical about that. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Is there any names anyone would like to add to the list? Cookie stamp. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say Amen. Okay. So, do a little Devar Torah. This week's Parsha is, we're in Devarim, Deuteronomy, last of the 5 books of Moses. And I wrote some stuff down. Okay. So, the thing that really appeals to me about Judaism is people are always quoting other Jewish people through history, rabbis and the Torah. And one of the reasons we do that is because somebody comes from that doesn't understand this tradition, and they see me up here saying all these hopefully great things that you like. They may think, oh, that guy's really smart. He's coming up with all this great stuff. And what's more powerful is, and I would defer that for the rest of my life, if the world came to know the Torah and the ways of the Jewish people, which I believe are the ways to peace for the whole world, I would give up any type of good job, Ben, for the rest of my life, because it would heal the world. So we quote other people to humble ourselves, to also show people this treasure trove of information. And I study when I'm going to do this. I'm always studying. I try and study every week as much as I can, and I'm always blown away by it. Like, oh my God, this is great. Every book I read, that's a really Torah book I open. I've never even. Why don't more people know about this? I'm always saying to myself, and it blows me away. And that's the great thing. And I talk to people that study all day, in yeshivas in Israel, and they speak Hebrew fluently, and they can open the Torah and they have it memorized, and they're always saying, I'm still blown away, because every day I learn something new, and they're studying all day. They're finding new insight and stuff. That's a beautiful thing. So I want you to entitle this Devar Torah, which is Words of Torah. America would not be possible without this week's Parsha. And we wouldn't be here without this week's Parsha. So this week's Parsha, just a little bit of it, Moshe Rabbeinu, which is what we say traditionally, Moses the teacher. And I'm saying this specifically, traditional Jews say Moshe Rabbeinu, that's Moshe's name in Hebrew, Moses' his name, Moshe, our teacher. The greatest prophet in the world, we call him a teacher. And one of the reasons is because people worship other people. Judaism is the anti-idolatry. People worship other people. People worship celebrity. People worship rock stars. People worship, throughout history, you look at all the, all these crimes from cults and things. People worship their cult leaders, and the cult leader told them to drink Kool-Aid or whatever it is. And this is what we're against. We've been against. This is child sacrifice, ultimately. It's adults doing it, but they're doing it to their own kids. And it still is in the world, and our goal is to rid the world of it. And this is one of the ways we do that there's this treasure trove of knowledge and different opinions where people are arguing with each other. And very often people on the outside, they see two Jews debating something, and they're like, see, they need something else. Judaism doesn't work. They're always arguing among them. They're criticizing that rabbi. No one can get along. But that's peace, where we can sit together and we can hear each other. We can hear each other's opinion and not kill each other, and then go have some wine and challah afterward. And I'll see you next week, and we'll do the same thing, right? And then 40 years later, it's the same two dudes that are still remember that day you said this? This week's Parsha talks about Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe our teacher, and how he does not get to go into the land of Israel. The greatest leader the Jews have ever known, who was able to speak to God one-on-one, like I'm talking to you right now, one of the only Jews that was ever able to do that, spoke directly to God. He does not get to go into the land of Israel. And we also don't know where his burial place is. And there's reasons for that. We have burial sites of some of the greatest, Rachel, the tomb of Rachel. We know she's buried. We know where Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and their wives were buried. The Hebron, in the cave of Machpelah, the cave of the patriarchs in Hebron, they're all buried there. Supposedly, in traditional, some people believe it, some people don't. I think it's kind of cool to believe that Adam and Eve are also buried there too, which is pretty cool, right? That we have the gravesite of that. But they didn't have what Moshe had. They didn't have that. So Moses dies, and we don't know where his gravesite is, because then we go worship the gravesite, and we're not worshiping God. That's one of the reasons it doesn't happen. We also don't know where Mount Sinai is. So that we don't go, let's go, it'd be a great tourist attraction. My God, Israel would be making so much money, right? Let's go to Mount Sinai. We know where a lot of the other mountains are. But, we don't know where that is, because then we go worship the mountain, and God doesn't want us worshiping the mountain. God wants us worshiping us. And very often, like in the Hasidic movement, the Chabad Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the other traditional Jews, thinks that movement sometimes veers a little towards idolatry, because people are going to his grave site, people put pictures of him up, and this week's Parsha specifically says, we'll not make any images, we shall not worship any. This is said before, this is like a recapitulation of this. This is like Moshe saying this again to everybody. And let's just reiterate before, you go into the land of Israel. And so he says, we not make any graven images, not worship people, not follow the ways of other nations. And through this, we stay holy. And he also says that you will do this. You're going to break this. Which I think is really healthy, right? To let people off the hook a little bit. It's like, parents ground their kids till they're 30. It's like you're grounded until you're 30. The kid knows that they're not really grounded until I'm 30. I'm still grounded, by the way. My parents are watching. So this parsha talks about that we will not be loyal to any other, meaning loyal, we will not worship kings. It says we will not worship kings, will not worship other gods, will not worship people. And this is what America was born on. That we don't get all of our laws, all of our knowledge and our fairness and our freedom come from a higher power, God. We have freedom of religion, but it comes from some type of higher power. And that was different than England. My car has this thing. I just got a new phone, and my wife was trying to fix it. Every time I plug the phone into the car, Hamilton, the Aaron Burr, AA, because it's the first one in my iTunes, AA, right? That song goes off, down, da 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 down, 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 right? Every single time. I love the song, but it's like, I take it out sometimes to watch, so it's constantly coming on, and we can't get it off. And Hamilton, this is what this is about. There was the king. The king had ultimate authority. You did not defy the king. You did not say anything against the king. And what we did was we threw the tea overboard. We said, no, we're not paying your taxes. We're starting our own republic, and we're going to have freedom of religion. You're not going to force a religion on us. You're not going to be our religion. And we were really the first place to do that, other than Israel. The Jewish kings, we didn't worship Jewish kings. You're not allowed to worship Jewish kings. All the Jewish kings went to Torah study class every day. They prayed to God 3 times a day. There's a prayer in Judaism. It sounds a little crazy, but it works. It's the bathroom prayer. Every time we go to the bathroom, there's a prayer we say after the bathroom that says, God, you gave me my body to work this way. You gave me all these. We say it here sometimes Saturday morning for the bar and bat mitzvahs. But there's this prayer that that we say this, that God you gave this to me. And if you decide to stop me from being able to go to the bathroom, it's your will. No human being can change that. Kim Jong-un in Korea, they don't believe he goes to the bathroom. When I heard that, crazy, I was like, what? But this is the same with all these leaders throughout history. The Roman emperor, they thought he was God. He was God. And there's still places in the world that has this. So this is why America works, right? We don't worship the Pope. We don't worship the church. We don't worship people. Yes, there's idolatry in the sense people worship rock stars, they worship celebrity, things like that. But that changes all the time. It's not the same thing. And there's no mandated you have to worship Lady Gaga or you have to listen to her music, right? I love her, by the way. But, and she's amazing. But she's human. So I wanted to say that this is why we're here today. This is why this America works, is because of Jewish belief. This is what we were founded on. And, they talk about different, in the 1500s, before the printing press, the church would translate the Bible into Greek and Latin, only languages that specific people can read, so that they can control people. Because if you can't read and you can't question. You have to take whatever somebody's saying as word for word. Sometimes, I have some cousins, and we read them little stories, and sometimes the book has like a little bit of violence in it. If it's like Lion King, we like soften it a little bit so that like Scar's not coming after somebody so violently, right? We'll soften it, and like, oh, Scar was being mean, right? We don't want to get violent, so but they're relying on us, like they can't read these words, so we're able to manipulate them in a good way, right? We're like trying to make it so it's not violent for them, or there's make it a little bit kinder. But however, when people can't read, they can't question. And Judaism always also says this, that you have to teach your children to read. They have to be able to read. We've always done it. 4,000 years we've been doing that. And we encourage the questions. I just want to read these two things. I got some of this from Lord Jonathan Sacks, who passed away a couple years ago. He was the chief rabbi of England. He was a genius man. He wrote over 10 books. He did a lot of interfaith dialogue. He was friends with Muslim imams and priests, and he was an amazing guy. So this is from John Adams, quote from John Adams. And I should say this, almost every single president from George Washington to Barack Obama, maybe even Trump did it, quoted something from the Hebrew Bible. Because that's where our country was founded upon. This is John Adams. I will insist that the Hebrews have done more to civilize man than any other nation. If I were an atheist and believed in blind eternal fate, I should still believe that fate had ordained the Jews to be the most essential instrument for civilizing the nations. Pretty cool, right? And this is from the actual Parsha. Observe them carefully, for this is your wisdom and understanding in the eyes of the nations, who will hear about all these decrees and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. This Parsha also says that other nations may understand our Torah in a way we don't, and appreciate it by watching us interact in a way that we don't, just like John Adams did. Mark Twain quoted Jews too. Mark Twain actually visited Israel in like the 1860s or 70s, and there's writings about that, which is pretty cool too. So thank you everyone for allowing me to spread some of what I've learned this week. Okay, we join on page 284 for Aleinu. We rise and join on page 284. And we say out loud, this is praising God. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. We'll now say the Kaddish prayer, page 294. Tom, would you like to lead this? Would you like to lead this? Or Seth, you want to? Is that okay? Yeah? Okay, cool. So, hold on, I want to read. Since last Shabbat, here's the Your Site list. Janice Seiner Kolker, Regina Hebel, Irving Kinsler, David Schnur. Okay. Oh, thank you. We didn't have that. Please. What is your mother's name? Wow. She's here. You wanna good. You wanna lead it? Yeah, you can come up if you want. Yeah. 284.
Yikdal v'yikdash shmei rabah.
Amen.
V'yamad divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayed kol beit Yisrael. B'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen.
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach leolam u'almei almaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmeid kudsha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru. Amen. Okay, we end with Adon Olam, which is, oh my God, I don't have the page number for this. Do you know what page number it is? Adon Olam, yeah. Oh, 321. 321. Whoa. All right. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Nasa V'chefso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Limloch Nora Hu haya vehu ve vehu yeh vetifara vehu echad ve'ein sheni leham shelo lechachbira v'li reshit v'li tachlit v'los v'hamisra Vehu Eli, V'chai Goali, V'tzorcher li V'etzara, Vehu Nisi Umanos li, Menat Kosi B'yom Ekra. Biyado Avkiruchi, V'et Hishan V'aira, V'imruchi eviati Adonai li v'lo yira. All right, we have some quick announcements. Okay, we say we should remain masked, but we're far enough away from each other. Number two, Trumont pledges for 2022-23 were due July 1st. You can still get that in, I think. After another year, many have spent too often apart from loved ones and each other. We are very pleased to start registration for in-sanctuary high holiday services for 2022. Registration for high holiday services is once again required for all, and no one will gain admission without registration and authorization. Information has been shared via email, appears in our newsletter, and is available on our website. Our next Tat Shabbat will be in person Saturday, August 20th for singing, dancing, story time with other age-appropriate activities. Change the world one meal at a time with our 1 hour out of your week. Help us feed our hungry and homeless neighbors at our food pantry. Food pantry has moved to Thursdays. Don't have an hour. Help feed the donation for food we buy. Details on the website. Just show up on Thursday. You will be glad you did. Okay, that is it. Oh, and then we got challah. Yeah. Does someone else want to do the challah blessing? Seth? Glenn? Go for it. Take it. It's yours. Amen. Thank you. How you doing? Like service? No, you're